Now it's time for the absolute worst weight loss advice I has ever given. I could have died. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of The Coffee Shop. It's where I talk about just something random in my life that has happened because I think it'd be interesting. And today we're talking about the worst weight loss advice I have ever gotten. So all the stories are going to be around the same time, which was sophomore year of high school. And in case you're wondering if I always look this devilishly handsome, yes, I have. And here's a picture of me sophomore year. Right? Yeah. But this is what I was looking like when people started giving me advice or I was asking for advice. Most of the time I was asking for advice because I lived in a very nice town. Like, not a lot of people were mean to me. But the first one, which was something I asked for, one of my buddies, we were in shop class in high school, and I mentioned that I wanted to start losing weight. And he goes, "Oh, really?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was wondering if you have any advice, because this person, he was on football team, wrestling team, all that good stuff. He was just telling me, basic good stuff. And then he started getting into the workout part of it. And mind you, he was also a sophomore, so like, he was giving me the best advice that a sophomore in high school could. So nothing on him, but he said that I needed to wrap myself in saran wrap when I worked out. And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah. Wrap yourself in saran wrap and work out. It'll make you sweat more, which means the fat will leave faster." I remember thinking, even then, before I knew anything, going, that doesn't sound right. But, who am I to judge? I am not in the place to be judging people for fitness advice. I am 250-ish pounds, so I remember going home thinking, "Oh man, saran wraps." I Googled it. And, no, that's not how you do it. It makes you sweat more, but that. Now it's time for the absolute worst weight loss advice I has ever given. I could have died. Like, looking back on it, I definitely would have died if I would have stuck to what was said to me. But this was back before I started losing any weight, so this was full-fledged, good-looking man right here. Very nice. And I was at the lunch table with some of the guys, which I don't normally do. I don't sit around the guys a lot. And I usually sit with the theater kids, so, like, that's what that is. Do with that with what you will. But I was sitting with them, and the topic got brought up, and I mentioned, just with passing, yeah, I think I'm going to try to lose weight. And I remember all the guys, like, and they stopped, and they were nice. They're like, oh, yeah. And that's when the advice started coming in. And I can't remember who it was. I'm trying to put a face, but, like, to me, when I remember this, it's just, like, a group of people and me, because that's how it kind of felt like in the time. But he was definitely a wrestler, because this is where he got his fantastic dieting advice from. And he said, if you want to lose weight fast, you want to make sure that comes off real quick. And I was like, yeah, quick weight loss, that will never go wrong. And he goes, all right, this is what you're going to want to do. In the morning, you're going to eat breakfast. And I was like, awesome. And he goes, a half of a tortilla with a little bit of butter on it, and you microwave it. And I was like, what? And he goes, and I know, you're wondering why you microwave it. And to be fair, I was not wondering that. I was wondering why it was butter and half of a tortilla for breakfast. But go on. And he said, you microwave it so it's warm and it'll go through your body quicker. I was like, oh, okay. And he goes, then you get to lunch. And I was like, oh, okay, what are we having here? Half of a tortilla, butter, microwave it. And I was like, oh. Is that it? And he goes, yeah, that's it. That's all you need. I was like, are you sure? That doesn't sound right. And he continued. And he goes, now between lunch and dinner, this is when you need to start hitting that gym. Start hitting your cardio. And I was like, oh, okay. He goes, you're going to want to stay in there for at least 3 hours. I was like, and he goes, 1 hour of that weightlifting, hour and a half of that, you're going to want to be doing some cardio, running, and then the other 30 minutes, sit in a sauna and sweat it out. And I was like, oh. And he was like, now before you get carried away, and I was like, oh, we're not getting carried away yet. And he goes, don't drink a lot of water. And this is when I started getting a little fishy on the whole subject, because everything I have ever seen on the internet or been told was that water's good for you, and you need water in your body. And I was like, and I remember I was like, why not water? And he goes, that'll make you keep the fat on your body. You can't have a lot of water. I was like, oh, okay. And he goes, well, after you're done lifting and cardio and sauna, you can have dinner. And I was like, oh, this is where it's gonna get good. This is where all the extra food's gonna come in. He goes, it's gonna be a little bit bigger than your breakfast and lunch. And I said, well, I hope so. So you're gonna have a half tortilla with butter, microwaved again. I was like, uh-huh. And he goes, but you're gonna have some more. I was like, oh, thank goodness. You're gonna have a cup of chicken broth. What? And he goes, yep. Just a cup of chicken broth. You can drink it cold or warm. Doesn't really matter. That's really up to you. And I was like, uh-huh. Well, are we putting anything in it? Like, are we making a soup? And he goes, no, that's too many calories. You're just gonna drink a cup of chicken broth with your half tortilla and butter. And I was like, oh. Well, how long do I do this? For like a couple days or a week or something? And he goes, oh no, you just keep doing it every day until you lose the weight you want to lose. What are you talking? And I was like, oh. And I was like, well, how long? Like, inside, I was like, what are you talking about? But on the outside, I was very eager because I wanted to lose weight. And I said, well, how long do you think it'll take me? And he goes, well, I think just a month or two and you should be good to go. In case some of you are wondering, if I would have done that for a month or two, I probably would have died. I would have been in the hospital. I would have been malnourished. I would not have survived this diet, let alone have enough energy to work out. Like, I'm pretty sure I would have just dropped dead at some point, but whatever. And after that, I took all that wonderful information and I went home. And I thought, well, maybe I should try to look it up a little bit. And what I found was that was complete nonsense. And another thing I found was that it was not sustainable. And that was the first time I started learning about what it really meant to be a sustainable diet, or being able to sustain weight loss. And that's when I started learning a little more about nutrition. Thankfully, I never did that diet, and I never will, because why? But I think about it sometimes. I think about how that was some of the first weight loss advice I was ever given on my weight loss journey. And I just wonder where I would have been now. Probably a lot heavier. I probably would have done that for a couple days and went, wow, this is awful. If this is what I have to do to lose weight, I'm not doing this. And then never have tried to lose weight again. And that's a problem, So, glad I never did that. But that's just some fantastic advice I was given. What is some horrible advice you were given? See, I love horrible advice so much because I think it's a learning experience. So in the comments, can you guys tell me what some horrible advice you were given, and tell me if it's prompted or unprompted, because I think that makes a big difference. Because normally, if it's unprompted and it's bad, it's just really bad. But that brings us to the end of the video. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And please leave a comment of the worst advice you were ever given. Like, that is something I'm genuinely curious about. And until next time, please, as always, drink your water.